It was still pretty sad. So, for the second time, how you guys feeling? Thank you, I appreciate that. So to see, it gives us some energy. We like to have some fun. You can see me wandering up here. I've actually had the tape pieces on the floor so that I'm being like kennel trained here. Someone like to. We've got a lot of new faces. Let's see who has not been to one of our meetups in the past. Show of hands. All right, we get like 20-30% of the room. Wow. Awesome. Let's give those guys a round of applause. And show of hands, who's a returnee? Let's give those guys an even bigger round of applause. Means we did something right for once. We've got a really awesome night planned. I got to make sure that we're a little bit behind, so if I stop and stutter, I apologize for that, but I'm going to try to pick things up and move things along quickly. Where did my business partner here? He's ready to rock and roll. We got an awesome guest speaker here for you guys tonight. Christian Hoy, Sikala. Quick high five. And obviously we picked the right topic because I don't think we've had a group this size for about a year maybe. So you guys are interested in some joint venture partnering. So I'm jacked up. You ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready to get us going. So we'll do a quick thank you to our sponsors. We'll start with the people who aren't here. Sean Burkhart's not here from Burkhart Construction Management. We had him the other day. He's looking to create some new stuff for you guys to be able to support you in looking at bathroom renos and kitchen renos and getting numbers quicker and things like that. So he sends his support, and he just decided he can't be here. Real File CPAs are talented. They're based out of Toronto. They're absolutely phenomenal. They specialize in dealing with real estate investors. They're absolutely amazing. His name's Dave Putin, the guy we deal with. Reach out to him. Green Mortgage Team, Keaton and Kyle, again, they're doing an event this weekend coming up, so they couldn't be here tonight. They will be presenting next month. Absolute incredible people, and really smart when it comes to the mortgage department. They've done a lot of our deals and facilitated a lot of deals for members in here. They sponsor basically every event that we've been a part of, so super grateful for them. For the people that are here, we have Sherry Krause. Sherry's over there. She's our real estate agent. For those that don't know, she's the one that helped us fund this, or not fund this, but create this from the ground up. She supported us along the entire way from the first meetup to this. So we're really grateful for her. She does some incredible stuff. Super well versed in real estate, joint venture partnering, anything to do with real estate. So reach out to her if you have any questions. And she, not confirmed, but will be speaking next month, I think, as well, doing some updates on the market. And then we have just Megan, I guess. Sorry, she's the all-star. So Megan's going to come up here and share something with you guys. Megan wasn't here last month. For those of you who don't know, she is an amazing financial planner. She believes in using real estate as a vehicle to grow your wealth, not just investing into tax-free savings accounts and RSPs and things like that. She gives a full, diverse array of things to invest in. She's invested heavily in real estate herself, doing different flips and her own properties, and understands it all. And she is one of our favorite people to go through and actually break down your finances. Not just where you should invest them, but how you can start saving money, how you can eliminate debt, where all your expenses are coming from, and having her go through your visas is something that she is an absolute badass at. And she is actually going to come say a few words about RSPs and contributions for this year. So give it up for Megan quickly.
So Randy said that I don't recommend using RSPs and TSAs. I don't want to go quite that far, but just for everyone that is wondering if they should be making RSP contributions for the 2018 year, we have 10 days, 8 business days left before that the deadline is coming up. And if you are curious if you as a potential or current real estate investor should be contributing to your RSPs, that is a discussion that we should sit down and visit very quickly so that you can make that educated decision before that deadline comes. So if you're wondering if you should be putting into your RSPs versus your TFSA or how that's going to affect your ability to invest in real estate, I have a sign-up sheet over on the side here. If you want to put down your name, I'll give you a call and we can have a quick chat about whether that works for you for the 2018 year.
Cool, thanks Megan. And I highly recommend you guys do that. Typically, our sponsors usually have some sort of pamphlets or deals or anything in this side of the room. So if it's your first time here, don't be afraid to walk over, check them out. As you know, the sponsors are here. Usually, Keaton and Kyle at the table and things like that. They have some stuff out there. So if you do come back, always be sure to check in over here.
When you do come back.
When you do come back. Who are we? Who are we to be able to stand in front of this room? A good majority have heard our story, have seen us up here before. I am Randy. That is Steve. Last month I mixed that up. And we got started in real estate about 2.5, 3 years ago. I lost one of my best friends and wanted to create some sort of wealth. I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I wanted to live life with a purpose. So I went and researched how to create money without having to work. I found real estate. I started researching it, looking it up, understanding it. Talked to Steve. He was into real estate as well. And we decided that we wanted to go all in on real estate. We learned about joint venture partnering. Then we went out and did 3 deals in our first 4 months, getting started, and have since just grown our portfolio from single family to small multifamily to developments to wholesaling to everything you can basically talk about in real estate. We've been a part of it in some way, shape, or form. And our biggest mission and motto is really just trying to help other people get financially educated so that they can start living a more fulfilled life as well. It's all about not just saving up for retirement, selling the house, downsizing, and living off the funds. It's all about creating wealth as we grow and as we get more into real estate so that we can start living off more passive income as the years go on. So that's really what our mission and motto is, what we're trying to do. The Meetup started about 2 years ago. We just decided that there wasn't a support system in Victoria big enough for what we needed. We needed the support. So we went and found the likes of Sherry and Kyle and other sponsors to say, hey, can you come talk to a group of people? And we're gonna sit at the back of the room and start taking notes and learn it as well. So we were in your seats about 3 years ago when we started. And now we've grown into this where we can support, looks like, I don't know, like 60 plus people, 70 people.
Victoria here.
Yeah, so which is incredible. So we just want to thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting us and being a part of our mission to financially educate 1 million people so they can get invested into real estate.
Can I get an amen?
Oh.
So why do talk on the microphone here? Why do we do this? Yes, we do it for us because we are interested in real estate investing. We are real estate investors ourselves. Yes, we do it for you guys because, as Randy just said, part of our mission is to help people, 1 million people get inspired to invest in real estate. And I just did a quick math here. We've got over 50 people here. And if we average that out to $5 a ticket, you guys just put $250 into the pockets of Kids Sport Victoria. Woo! So we are what's called a for-purpose business. So every dollar that you guys buy tickets for to these events goes directly to one of these 2 organizations. This year is all about Kids Sport Victoria. Last year we did a lot for the International Network of Hearts, which is an orphanage that we go down to in Mexico. Kids Sport is a facilitator to help kids who don't have the financial means to get involved with sports, get involved with organized sports. And it's been a huge piece for Ren and I throughout our lives. It's taught us leadership skills, how to fail forward, and how to work as a group for one community vision and goal. So that's what we want to help the youth of the world, or Victoria at least, to get inspired to do through organized sports. So.
And if we talk really fast, it's because we're trying to make up time because we started a few minutes late. So I know we talk fast normally, and tonight we're talking really fast.
So yeah, I'm actually going to skip this slide, which is our agenda, because we're trying to get through things here, so you guys will figure it out as we go. Small disclaimer, I am not a lawyer, but that guy there is. So everything that we say, do, or show is just part of what our experience is, not actual legal advice to go and do. We highly suggest, recommend, and implore you guys to go and talk to people like Christian, or Christian himself. That's why we brought him out here tonight, because he's an expert in this space. And let's go on. So what the heck is a joint venture agreement? Show of hands, who knows exactly what a joint venture agreement is? One person, awesome. Come on, up high, up high, up high, up high. All right, maybe half the room. Awesome, that's freaking fantastic. I'm so glad to not see everybody's hands go up, because then we wouldn't be up here. So what is a joint venture agreement? A joint venture agreement is basically when 2 or more parties come together to combine resources on a common goal. In this case, our goal is to make money through real estate investing. Woohoo, that's what we're all here for, right? To learn more about real estate investing, how to make money in it. If you don't have money, how to use other people's money. If you have money, how to use other people's resources to get everybody further ahead. There are 5 key pieces for our experience anyways, to a joint venture agreement. These 5 things are, real quick, you need to identify what your contributions are, what your expectations are, what your term, your length is going to be, what your split of profits or debt is going to be, and your exit strategies. Those are the 5 core things you absolutely must have in your agreement. And we can go into more details right now. Any questions off the bat? No? Sweet. Cool. If you guys do have questions, stand up, shout them out, put your hand up, we'll get to you. Same thing for Christian as well. He's totally open to questions throughout the presentation. Contributions. I was going to ask you a question about like what contributions could be, but I kind of already gave you the answer here. So the typical kind of contributions are different resources you have. Skill sets could be one, right? Finances could be another. You could have a bunch of money but have no idea what to do with real estate. So you could have a skill set that invests other people's money. Qualifying ability. So for example, my qualifying ability is absolute squat because I'm self-employed and don't have over 2 years of regular income to show the bank. So they say, see you next time. And so if Randy had awesome qualifying ability, him and I could partner up. I could bring money in the property, he could just bring the qualifying ability, and we could be off the rodeo. Oh, the other thing too could be like labor skills, work set, that kind of stuff. So if you are a contractor or an electrician, you have something to bring to the table as well. Take a quick second and just think of a skill that you have in life in general that could be applied to real estate investing. Maybe it's you're awesome at sales. Maybe you can design badass homes, right? Those different things can be partnered with other people that don't have that particular skill set. Expectations. Who thinks this is important to have? This is extremely important to have because 2 years down the road, you don't want to be butting heads with your partner saying, oh, I thought you were doing this, and he's like, I thought you were doing this, right? So you want to make sure that your roles and responsibilities are absolutely clearly defined throughout your agreement, and give it deadlines as well. Make sure that you have clear identifiers that show each party involved what the expectations are going to be. The term, you can go from, I don't know, 2 weeks to 30 years, right? Your term is completely flexible. You guys can work it out. If it's a renovation, maybe it's a 3-year or 3-month term. If it's a buy and hold project, maybe it's 3 years. If it's a development project, maybe it's 10, right? So everything within a joint venture agreement is completely up for grabs, negotiable, and customizable. That's why it is such an excellent tool to use in real estate investing. My numbers are a little backwards there, right? Can't count very well. Distribution of profits. That's the important part, right? Everybody wants to get paid. So you need to show exactly when, how, where, why people involved in the agreement get paid. So we'll talk about more like this, I guess what we'll call the traditional sense of how different parties get paid in a couple minutes here. But you can work it out any way you want. Maybe it's just qualifying power, like in that last example, and you just get like 10% of the equity or 10% of the cash flow or 10% of the profits overall. Or maybe they're more engaged and it's a 50-50 split because 2 people are bringing equal values to the opportunity. And then exiting the joint venture. Also super important. You need to make sure that you guys have a clear vision of what the exit strategy looks like. And in the what if moments, you also need to have that kind of clarity. So, the worst of the worst is what happens if I pass away and I left my other partner sitting there who doesn't know anything about real estate investing with his money or her money invested into the property. That's not great. Shotgun clauses. Right? At the end of the 3-year term, what happens? If the project isn't fully complete, is there a 1-year extension? Is there a 6-month extension? Is there a 10-year extension? What does that look like? So you need to make sure that you're clearly defining these things. And then other kind of bits and pieces to know about a joint venture or to consider while you're running your own joint venture is this is not a typical practice. When you're walking down the road, real estate is always like 1 or 2 on the popularity list of conversation. If you're at Starbucks, you can be like, yo, you do anything about real estate? Well, of course, market's hot, right? But as you start spitting off like joint venture terms, people are going to look at you like you're a bit of an alien. So that's why we always recommend talking to people like Christian to make sure that you guys are writing the contract in the best way possible to protect both parties. Like I said, many people are going to take a look at you like you're a bit of an alien or a little bit crazy. Not all joint venture parties have to go on title. So something we learned in our early days is that, at 24 and 27, we didn't have very good qualifying power, so it hurt our opportunities with joint ventures to go and acquire high return assets. So we decided not to be on title and allow our joint venture to go fully on title. The contract or agreement is basically only written in case there's a dispute. If all things are rainbows and puppy dogs and lollipops and sunshine, there's no need to really reflect back to the joint venture. Just make sure that Megan's doing what Megan said was going to do, and the face will recognize Chris. Chris is doing what he's supposed to do. This I cannot underline enough. It is one of the two most important pieces of a joint venture agreement. You are basically getting married to this person. The way we typically structure our joint ventures is because we're in the buy and hold game. Is we tie the term to the length of the mortgage. Most mortgages are a 5-year term, so our joint venture agreement is 5 years. I don't know about you guys if you guys went through like dorm room university or stuff, but if you had a roommate that was a complete A monkey, like that's not a whole lot of fun to be involved with every single day. And if you're going through a high stressful point where maybe you have a vacancy, you can go doing through a renovation, and you found some aluminum wire that you need to replace, and it's a high stress point. You need to make sure that your personalities cooperate very, very well. Last but absolutely not least is, you guys know the term, the one who has the goal makes the rules. That no longer applies in our market. What's more important than money in our market right now?
Deals.
Oh yeah, you cheated though. You already knew the answer. Google suck for you. That's about it. Any questions so far? I zoomed through that, so I want at least one question. Come on. Am I that good of a teacher? No, I don't believe it.
I have a question.
Yeah,
How come
sure.
you don't devalue yourself?
Oh, that's what I was going to get to. How come I don't devalue myself? Was, well, deals are the most important piece because they're no longer a dime a dozen. It is, there was a time when we first started where you could almost throw a rock and hit a good deal. Or at least find a deal that's worth exploring to the next level and start doing your own due diligence on. Today, you can look at 10 properties and you can look at 100 properties and not find one that you want to look further into. So right now, he who has the opportunity, or she who has the opportunity, has the keys to the magic kingdom. So if your skill set, if you are terrible at everything else other than finding deals, you have got it made in the shade, my friend. So if that's the piece that you have, or if you have a skill set that is like calculating numbers, doing renovations, maybe it's just bringing in money. Whatever skill set you guys have individually, don't devalue yourself because somebody else out there needs exactly that skill set. Find that person, JV with them, make sure you guys mesh. Make sure you have all 5 different things for the joint venture that we just covered. And if you guys need to, we're here for questions and answers.
Another big thing is with the rate of returns right now, like what are the banks offering for rates of return? Some numbers?
2.1.
Right? The banks are typically offering under 5%. Well, if I come to somebody and say, hey, I could probably get you around 10 to 12 to 15% return on investment on your money, do you think they're going to be happy or sad? Happy, right? So now I'm providing a value to them. So why shouldn't that be worth it to them if I'm coming to them providing a value that's going to be at 10 to 12%? I'm still taking my 10 to 12% on the back end. I'm just offering them 10 to 12%. So now my value is worth it. So don't just justify the cash contribution. Justify how much return you're actually getting them based on what they'd be getting going to the bank. So simply saying, hey, if you're going to go to the bank, what's the bank going to offer you? Well, you're willing to partner with them and give them $100,000 and take 3%, and they're going to go make 20%. I'm willing to work with you 50-50, and I'm going to pay you 10 to 12%. So when you actually phrase it that way, does it not make sense that it's not just the person with the money that has the value, it's the person that's willing to do the work and find the deals to get that percentage of return for the person with the money. So that's going for Edwin here. Even if you are a money partner, eventually you're going to run out of money and want to do some sort of other partnering. Understand that money isn't the end-all be-all right now. It is all about providing the value and the return on investment, and to don't go down to and say, oh, I'll do all the work and everything for 15% of the deal if you provide all the money, because you just devalue yourself so much, because that person is going to go put their money in the bank and get 3 to 5%, and you're offering them 10 to 15% with a 50-50 split, typically is what we like to teach and preach through what we do. So that is another thing to consider for that.
Absolutely. The last thing I want to leave you guys on is the cool thing about this, from everything that we just kind of talked about, from skill sets and renovations, or money, finding money, calculating deals, knocking on doors, whatever that might look like. When you start to pitch, to a potential joint venture partner, the beauty about it is there's no cookie cutter formula to it. It is completely up in the air for you guys to figure out and negotiate. That's the beauty of it.
Cool. Yeah, I'll use that for sure. Cool. So I'm going to run you guys through a few deals that we've actually done ourselves. Is that cool? Cool. Say cool.
Cool.
Cool. So we're going to run you through these deals here. Here's an example of a joint venture agreement. Typically, this is how we structure most of our deals. There's a working partner. There's a money partner. The working partner does everything. The money partner just provides the funds, qualifies for the mortgage, and then has to go sit on a beach in Mexico somewhere. That's their rules. Our rules are finding the deals, renovating, taking care of tenants, day-to-day maintenance, creating reports, things like that. That's how Steve and I structure our deals right now, because we don't have finances to fund into deals. We're providing the deal for people that don't want to do the work, that don't want to do property management. And boy, do you guys not want to do property management. We're going through an eviction right now. Let me tell you, it has been the biggest nightmare of my life. Horrible, horrible things. If you want to learn about tactics on how to get tenants out, hit me up. I'm good at it. So we split everything 50-50 on these deals. So they provide the money, we provide the work. That's how we split. There's no negotiating that. That's how it's always going to be. Unless they can provide some sort of value or asset on the other side, then our value and asset is worth 50% of the deal, like I was just telling you guys. So how does our profit sharing system work? Basically, at the end of the day, any mortgage on the property gets paid out first. So we got the deal, we go through the joint venture at the end of the 5 years, we go to sell the property, we sell the property, then all the profit of the property gets paid out to the mortgage first. So that's like, you owe the bank the money first, right? The lawyers will take care of all that. It's all done at closing. The second thing is any funds that the money partner has put into the deal, the down payment, their closing, any capital expenditures, any cent that that partner has put into the deal gets paid back. So we don't split anything until they've been paid out in full. And then the third thing is we split all profit remaining 50-50. So this is how a simple example works. We buy a property for $500,000. Our joint venture puts up, this is simple guys, there's a lot more expenses and everything that goes into a property one, but they put down $100,000 down payment, leaves us with a $400,000 mortgage. We do a $50,000 renovation to bring up the value of the home. The investor has $150,000 into the deal. We have none. After 5 years, the properties were $600,000 because of appreciation. We paid down the mortgage with principal recapture. We had a hot water tank blow, and we needed some other stuff, so the joint venture put up $5,000 more into the deal. So they put up $5,000 in 5 years. At the end, the bank loan was $325,000. The investor's capital is $155,000. So that's our $600,000 of what the property's worth now, minus the $480,000 for our expenses, leaves us with about $120,000 net profit. Are you guys following? Does this make sense? Yeah, everyone gets it? There's no questions? Cool. So then we split 50-50. We take $60,000 and they take $60,000. That's a very, very, very simple structure. That's like basic 101 of joint venture partnering. That's how we got started. That's the easiest way to do it. If you don't want to get into complicated deals, don't complicate it. Just keep it simple, keep it clean, keep it straightforward. We then got into a little bit more complicated deals. So this one here, JV1 went and bought a property. This is an example for a property in Duncan that we just bought. It's a holding lot for us for development. We're doing some development there, but we didn't want to go buy the property. We couldn't qualify for it, and we didn't have the down payment right now because our funds are invested into our other properties that we're developing on. So we got somebody to qualify for the mortgage and put down the down payment, and in return, his return is he gets a balloon payment of $50,000 per year that he holds it. That might seem like an extreme amount, but when you're developing, those are sometimes the prices you have to pay to get things done, and that was one of the agreements that we came to. We get...
What are you hoping it turns into?
We're going to develop that lot into a 15-unit apartment building, I think. When?
How long? Time frame?
Our time frame? So we're going to hold this lot for probably 1.5 to 2 years.
50 grand a year.
Yeah.
Out of your pocket.
Out of our pocket on the balloon side. So at the very end. So balloon payment means it's all going to be put on the back end. So he's just holding the property right now, and then on sell of the property, we'll just add it. So we bought it for $300,000. We'll just buy it off him, per se, for $350,000. So that's how we're structuring it, $50,000 per year.
With a burn of 75,000 on the way.
Yeah, so original purchase price plus 50,000 per year, yes. That's the choice.
You're expecting big returns then.
Oh yeah.
Attaboy.
And so that's what we're doing there. And then so
That's a lot of cash. Is what we're
yeah,
saying.
oh yeah. And so our job as JV2s, we have to make all the mortgage payments and everything to do with that property. He doesn't have to put 1 cent into it, nothing. No deal there. We must put a development permit on the property before we can buy it back. That's what secures him. If that house falls down right now, he has no security on it. So the security was we have to put a development permit on that property before we can buy it back from him, because then that raises the value of the property. It's already got everything in place. And then once that's done, we have the return for us is we have no money down in the holding property. So we didn't have to put anything down, we didn't have to qualify, we didn't have to do anything. Now we've got a lot that we can develop on. And we also get the monthly cash flow if it's rented above what the mortgage payments are. So we just pay his mortgage, all the expenses and everything like that. And if we can get our rents to be above that, we actually supplement it with cash flow coming in. So we can use that cash flow for anything we need to supplement that property. This is getting a little more complicated, but you guys see the difference. You can go simple, you can go complicated, and you can structure anything you want. This isn't like this isn't a template. I didn't just go into Google and say, hey, I need a joint venture agreement for a development property and come up with this. This is literally something we just created ourselves. We had a negotiation with somebody, and we just worked it out between them.
So you're making the mortgage payments while it's undeveloped as well?
Yeah, so we're making the mortgage payments while it's undeveloped, yeah. So there actually is a house on it right now that we're renting out, which actually covers everything, and we make about $300 a month cash flow. So we're just putting that back into a bank account. So this is just another way of doing a joint venture agreement that is unnormal. People don't normally see this kind of stuff. Again, we had very basic information. There's a full detailed list of all the rules and regulations on the back end. So get creative. It's your deal. Doesn't have to be 50-50. It could just be monthly payments for helping someone qualify. Like Steve said, you might hear that in a few minutes here with COVID. It could be, money and time and contracting time. If you're a contractor, you have every leverage on this planet right now. Nobody can find contractors, and they're overcharging, they're overpriced, and they don't show up on time, and they're lazy, and they're horrible. I think everyone here can agree with that right now. It's the truth, and I'm saying this as a contractor. I'm an electrical contractor in this world, and I can't even get to the jobs that I need to because I'm so busy, and I don't even do it full time. I didn't mean that in a mean way. I just mean that in realistic ways of it is so hard to get a contractor right now to come in and do a very good job on that. So if you're a contractor right now, you can leverage your contracting abilities in a joint venture agreement, saying I will do all the work. I'll have my whole team here, and you don't have to worry about it. Huge leverage point. You can do rent-to-own deals, and you can do primary residences, right? If you're looking for a primary resident and you want to move in, you move into the basement suite, you get 5% down, the investor only has to put in $40,000 instead of $120,000. That's a huge benefit for them. Great deal to have. So that's basically the structures of a joint venture agreement, ran through very quickly with a few details. Is there any questions so far around what we just kind of went through and blasted you with information on? No? None?
We gotta spike the coffee or something to get these
Yeah, no
people
doubt.
So I just have a
Yeah.
question. You said when you're having a primary residence, you don't have to put as much down as when you have a
Yes.
profit residence.
Yeah, so the question was if you have a primary resident, you don't have to put as much down. If you're living in the property, you can do 5% down with a CMHC insured mortgage. And so if it's an investment property, you have to put minimum 20% down. If it's a primary resident, you can go as low as 5%.
And if you're not doing CMHC, is there a difference?
You have, if anything below 20%, you'll have to be insured on an insured mortgage. So it all gets added to the mortgage. It's not an upfront cost or anything like that. It just means your payments are a little bit higher. But I mean, your return on investment, anyone in here should know, as the cost of your down payment shrinks, so the less money you put in, the bigger your ROI is. So we try and put as little amount of money into the deal as we can, by getting the biggest return on the back end. So the less money you have into a deal, the bigger the ROI is on the back end.
What's the negative to that, to put in less money down?
Oh, me? You can go underwater, plus they charge you the insurance fee, which is
Mhm.
cheap.
I wrote a thing through that here.
More interest?
More interest. Okay. There's one thing I was looking for. If you put more money into the deal, you're gonna get more cash flow. Because your expenses, your mortgage payment's gonna be less.
You get no cash flow when you do 5% down, basically. It's hard to cash flow on a 5% down. I did it. Just very tough. So we got to get going here. So we're gonna bring 2 people up. We're gonna ask 2 people some quick questions here that have done joint venture agreements in this room that aren't just us. So it's not just us blabbering. So we'll start with Megan. Is that cool? Cool. Can I have that one? Sweet. Let's give Megan a round of applause for coming up and raising back up. So Megan did a deal, and why don't you tell them a little bit about the deal that you did with your mom?
Okay.
And tell them just how it was structured and what it was quickly.
So I want to put a disclaimer out that I didn't have a joint venture agreement in place when I did this deal with my mom. It happened so quickly that we had started the process and we didn't actually get one put in. So I just want to make that disclaimer that I would not advise that someone duplicate that. So we purchased a home that had 3 rental suites in it. We had for the purpose of a buy and hold. We went in, we renovated the upstairs suite to get the rents that we wanted to be getting. Rented out the basement units, and then I was, a realtor came and saw me and seeing the property and the renovations that we had done and put it in a process that we could just be flipping this property. So we actually ended up flipping it. We purchased it. Our offer was accepted in December. We took possession in January. We did the renovation. It took, I think, 3 weeks. We had it rented out. We had it on the market the week after we had it rented out. And we had accepted offer within 2 weeks from that point. We ended up walking away with $75,000 after-tax profit, which ended up being split between the 2 of us.
We get a round of applause for that. That's a pretty good split.
It was out of my mother's comfort zone. I took the potential to her because I had been in real estate. We were trying to reach some monetary goals for her. So the idea behind the buy and hold, we were going to be cash flowing $1,100 a month on that property, which was really awesome. But at the end of the day, the balloon payment or the balloon profit that we ended up getting from the flip was a lot more advantageous for us for some personal reasons and to be able to parlay into the next project.
So how was that deal structured with your mom, if you don't mind me asking? Who put in the money, who did the work, how did it look?
So my mom was the qualifying partner. I know the real estate market, and I'm also Victorious. I should mention that she's not local. So that's another thing that wouldn't allow her to be able to actually manage the property here. And we actually leveraged that property. We leveraged that property, so we use completely financed funds for the down payment. So we didn't have very much money into this deal. And this gentleman had a question.
You know, she qualifies here, like how much was
The actual mortgage on that property, the purchase price was $600, and plus the down payment, $120,000 that we had to put in for the down payment. Yeah.
So your mom qualified. Who put up the financing?
We used leverage funds. She had a line of credit that we used for the down payment, and the renovation cost was on me. I paid for the renovation costs and the holding costs, so the monthly mortgage until that property was rented out was on me. So the longer that took, the more it hurt me.
Were those expenses covered inside the joint venture so that at the end of the day it went on the payouts, you guys all got paid out for the refinance and your expenses into it, and then there's profit at the bottom line?
Exactly. Yeah, she was on the hook, or actually, she was on the hook for the interest of her line of credit. So she covered that cost. In the meantime, I covered the mortgage and any renovation expenses. So right off the top, we ended up selling that property for $756, I believe it was. Less realtor fees, which are a big chunk. But we got back our renovation costs, she got back her interest, and the line of credit was paid off. I got back the mortgage payments and obviously the bank loan mortgage, and the rest was gravy.
Cool. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
You had the intention to hold it, so I'm assuming you got like a 5-year fixed? Or
Yes, we did. And so our profit.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, sorry. The question was, he was assuming that we did, because of the buy and hold, was that it was a 5-year fixed mortgage. So that's actually a really good point. We did do a 5-year fixed mortgage because my mom is very risk averse. So having the locked in mortgage was her comfort sweet spot. So we actually ended up having the penalty, but because of when we entered into this, the interest rate had actually gone up comparatively to when we locked in ours. So it was, we only had the 3 months interest as our penalty to get out of it versus the interest rate differential. So that obviously comes into play when you're figuring out if it makes worthwhile to get out.
Cool. Thanks so much for sharing, Megan. If you have any questions around it, we got to get going to the next one. So if you have any questions around that, talk to Megan back there. And the next one up is Colvin. He did a funky joint venture. We're going to get to a break here really quickly, guys. We're just going to quickly ask Colvin how he structured his deal and what it was.
Okay, I'll save a ton of time because it's ridiculously simple. I did a joint venture for my own personal property. So I'm a realtor now, but in my previous life I was a power engineer. And so becoming a realtor, all of a sudden self-employed, and you can't finance a ham sandwich. So needed to buy a home. I have a family with 3 kids and I didn't feel like renting in the crazy market. So we bought. How it worked out was, came to a meetup group similar to this one. My mother actually stood up in front and was like, hey, does anyone want to do a joint venture money partner? Blah, blah, blah. And this gentleman raised his hand. He's like, sure, I'll talk to you about it. And sure enough, he turned out to be the joint venture partner, brought the money and the qualifying power for my home. Yeah, we pay him 10% a year until a balloon payment to pay him out with an option to extend at the end. That's really about it. Super simple.
So simple.
Any questions?
So what do you mean by the 10% that you're paying, and what is that on?
On the money that he put in for the down payment.
And that's a yearly payment that you owe him annually, or
Yeah.
at the very end?
Yeah, sorry, at the end of each year.
At the end of each year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a super simple structure. That's how, like, when people say I can't afford to buy in Victoria, I can't do it. Prime example: a guy couldn't qualify. You might have had the money, but didn't want to put funds up. Had somebody come in and just pays them 10% to borrow their down payment and to be an equity partner, a qualifying partner for the deal until you create enough self-employed income to qualify to take it back over. Is that
Yeah. So right now he's on title,
Yeah.
and so once I have all the ducks in a row to qualify on my own and pay him out, I'm gonna get him removed off the title, and now I own the property.
So
I wasn't able to do that before.
You went on title with him?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So if you default on the mortgage, does he get the house?
Repeat the question.
If I default on the mortgage, will he get the house? I pray to God it never comes to
No, I
that.
know that the agreements are written that way, so I'm just curious how you wrote it.
He would. Yeah. How was that worded in the joint venture? Yeah. He would get the house.
Mom's like, yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
That's again the JV agreement is there for if crap hits the fan. And so I try not to think about that, and I focus on what I need to do to hold up my end of it. That's really. Oh, and another point I wanted to make is I'd never done a joint venture before. In fact, at the time I was still relatively new to real estate. Like, I'd read a lot of books and listened to podcasts and stuff, but never actually done anything. So I'd never seen a joint venture agreement before. So it was just actually a template that Sherry had used before. And we put that in front of this guy. He took it to his lawyer, right? Because he's also not an expert in it. And his lawyer made some changes, and that was it. Like, we didn't need to be joint venture agreement specialists. There are professionals that do that. Right there.
My one question is just, what kind of relationship did you guys have beforehand?
I had never met the man in my life. When
And
it
he's
first
getting
started.
10% of his money, which is great.
Yeah, when it first started, we'd never met him before. Obviously, we, built that relationship up a bit first. It's just very, hey, we have an opportunity here. Pay 10% on your money. Is anyone interested in talking about that?
But you're saying if you have a good enough deal and you present it to a crowd of people, that somebody might want to invest in it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a crazy concept. You guys hearing this? How many people in here want to do a joint venture agreement? Oh, cool. Well, I bet there's a partner in here that's looking to match the other half of what you have.
Yeah, and you'll never know unless you talk to people. That's it right there. Talk to people.
Was it this group?
Yeah, it was.
Whoa, hey!
Was it under 100,000?
Yes.
And could you go 5% down then, or did you do a smaller percent down because you
No,
were on title?
we probably could have done smaller
Yeah.
percent down, but we didn't.
So again, the question I asked was, could you do a smaller percent down? So could you have done a 5% down on this, got less investor money in, and just had a higher mortgage payment to make each month? Then obviously you didn't do that. They structured it in a different way. But you can't do that if he wanted to, because he was on title. He could do less than the 20% down that he had to, and then pay the guy less. If the guy only had $40,000, then you're only paying him $4,000 a year towards money instead of $100,000 into the deal, and you're paying him whatever.
Yeah,
right?
which is
So-
cheaper than $50,000 a year.
So cool. We got to get Jen here. Let's give Colvin a round of applause. If you have any questions, right now. And it's going to be made. So let's try and do this organizing. So we had a really cool idea. Last month we did roundtables where we shared a little bit about who we were and what we were looking for. This month, talking joint venture partners, we really wanted to see what people could provide to the group or see if there's somebody around. One of the complaints we got last month, not complaints, suggestions, was maybe switching the tables up a bit. I know Chris and Sari, they talk all day about real estate because they're a couple in real estate doing joint ventures. So what's the point of having both of them at one table when they could separate tables and have some other person to talk to? And instead of talking to 4 people, they're now talking to 8 people. You guys understand? So what we're looking to do is separate the crowds a little bit. So we're going to go to a quick 10-minute break. 5-minute break. We weren't expecting this big a crowd, so it's going to get a little bit messy. But if you could try, pick your stuff up and go sit at a different table than your opposite person you're here with. If you're here by yourself, no problem. Or if you've already talked to the people at your table, let's try and separate a little bit amongst yourselves, because we're going to do some roundtables in about 5 minutes discussing joint ventures. And then we're going to have Christian come up after that and close us out. Are you guys okay with that? Yeah? Okay, awesome, guys. Let's get a high five here. Round of applause.
I don't know, are you all into it? Or are you just I'm a realtor and I'm here. Yeah, so I'm here for information and
The clock is on the board. You guys have 5 minutes. I want you back in seats when that hits 0, please.
and I'm here with Shelly and I'm interested in real estate investment. Yeah, so I started coming to this group last month. So it's fairly recent, but yeah, but I've been thinking about it for a while. Heidi, do you want to join us? Do you want to join us? I know we know each other, but we haven't seen each other for a couple of years. Did you lose an earring? Actually, I think he was holding one up. An earring? Did you find an earring? Yes. A silver earring? It's a moon. Thank you.